Hi guys, this is gsmdom.com and I'm here with the Samsung Galaxy A40 for a full review. We've already played with the Galaxy A50, Galaxy A80 and A70, and now it's time for this little fellow here. So it's still made of plastic. This time we have the brilliant coral color here, and we're dealing with a sort of Galaxy A50 Lite, basically with a dual camera this time around. It's priced at only $250. It's a colorful phone. It debuted in the spring, and let's see what it can do. It's one of the most affordable phones with Android Pie and One UI on board. Aside from the coral hue we have here, it also comes in black, white and blue. Now I'm going to start talking first of all about the design. We're dealing with a pretty compact phone. It feels as comfy in my hand as the Samsung Galaxy S10e did, with a plus because it's very light. It's made of plastic. They call it 3D Glastic. It's basically plastic made to look like glass. Measures 7.9 millimeters in thickness and weighs a decent 140 grams. It's all plastic, even the frame here, but somehow it does not feel fragile, and I love the fact that the back is coral and the sides are something like copper or darker orange, which is pretty nifty for me. So the build and design are overall okay, but don't expect a really solid or premium build. And as far as plastic goes, I'm satisfied. I would say that the keys are comfortable to push, the phone snuggles in the palm perfectly, and the back gets a bit smudgy over time, but you can get rid of it with a rag or with your sleeves. Other than that, I would say it's comfier than the Galaxy A50 and the Galaxy A70. Now, as far as the screen is concerned, some people may see this as the selling point. Why not? It's a Super AMOLED 5.9 inch with a Full HD Plus resolution, and the experience is going to be put to the test as usual with our typical video that we have here. Now you're going to notice that things are a bit asymmetrical. So on this side here we have a straight line and here we have curved edges. I would say that the experience is also rather immersive. I'm happy with the brightness, the color calibration and the contrast even in the summer sunlight. The blacks are deep and the view angles are pretty wide. Satisfying experience, and now we should also show you some tests we did for the screen. We have them here, and this is what the pixel arrangement is like. You're familiar with it. It's the famous Pentile matrix. And then we get to the lux meter test. We have such a tool and we reached a top level of 483 lux units. It's quite solid. It beats the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus in our measurement, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro and the Huawei P30 Lite, which is no small feat. At the same time, it's very close to the Galaxy A50's 482 lux, and it beats, as I said before, the Mate 20 Pro and the Huawei P30 Lite. It's still below the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Motorola Moto Z3 Play. And if you're not happy with the calibration we got going on here, you may as well go to the settings and tweak everything from the display department. We got adaptive brightness here, we got a blue light filter, night mode, but the most important of them is the screen mode with its adaptive display, AMOLED Cinema, AMOLED Photo and Basic, and a white balance area, and also a white balance RGB slider. So a lot to tweak here. Loving the screen so far, one of the best attributes about the phone. And now it's time to talk about the CPU. Inside this handset lies the Exynos 7904, and here we're talking about an octa-core CPU at 1.8 GHz, which is also seen on the Galaxy M30, Galaxy A30 and Galaxy A40s, as well as the M20, accompanied by 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage, as well as a micro SD card slot. I would say that the functioning was fine. In my book, I did not encounter any lag, even though every once in a while, the first few minutes after a startup of the phone may feel a bit sluggish compared to the usual usage. Now you can play games on it for sure. Asphalt 9 runs okay, PUBG Mobile runs, I would say, satisfying, and I also played with Riptide GP Renegade, which should be installed here somewhere. Okay, so now I guess that it's time for some gaming. We got here Riptide GP Renegade, our good old benchmark game that we're using for so many years. Now at the same time that I'm playing the game, I'm going to talk to you about the performance of the device, and you're going to see some benchmark talk here. So we did the Antutu benchmark for sure, and in that one we were able to surpass the Samsung Galaxy A20e as well as the Xperia XA2 and also the Huawei P20 Lite. In the same AnTuTu 7, we stayed below the Motorola Moto G7 Power and the Huawei P30 Lite, while in Geekbench 4 multi-core, we surpassed the Asus Zenfone 4 and the LG G6 even, which is rather odd, and also the Huawei P20 Lite. We stayed below the Motorola One and Xperia XA2 and Moto G7 Power. That's Geekbench 4 multi-core. Now we're going off into the GPU department, where we have the good old 3D Mark Slingshot, and almost ran into a wall there. So 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme ES 3.1. In this area we surpassed the Motorola Moto G7 Power and the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite, but stayed below the Sony Xperia XA2 and the Huawei P30 Lite. So basically it's a mid-ranger. Oftentimes it's below the Huawei P30 Lite, which was the main rival of the Galaxy A50, and it beats the Snapdragon 660 phones like the Xperia XA2 from what I can remember. Basically it's between the Huawei P20 Lite and the P30 Lite. That's what you have to remember here, and run games in a pretty okay fashion. We also did a bunch of temperature tests, so let's see what that panned out. So here you can see a value of 34 degrees Celsius, which was achieved in the game you saw before, Riptide GP Renegade, clearly no overheating. When we did an intensive benchmark like GFX Bench, we reached as high as 35.6 degrees Celsius, so no overheating. Heat dissipation also happens in an okay manner. You can see here the thermal heat map of the device scanned with the CAT S61 FLIR camera. And once again, I have to remind you that we have a lot of benchmarks for the device. We did all of them. This one, the old AnTuTu, the browser ones, the multi-core ones, Jetstream, you name it, we've done it. Geekbench included, AnTuTu included. So that's the performance in a nutshell, and now we move further to the battery. I would say traditionally, after testing a few Galaxy A 2019 phones, the batteries are solid. Also this one here, on paper doesn't sound like much, 3100 mAh, and the Galaxy A50 and A70 were fantastic. Let's see what happens for this one. So it would be pretty easy to go here and see how we did. Basically, you can get 13 hours and 12 minutes of continuous HD video playback. That's what we achieved, 13 hours and 12 minutes. It beats the iPhone XR and also at the same time beats the Huawei Mate 20 Pro and the Huawei P30 Lite. It stays below the Galaxy A50 and Nokia 7 Plus. We also did the continuous usage test, basically PC Mark, 9 hours and 39 minutes, superior to the Huawei P30 Lite and the Asus ROG phone even, but inferior to the Motorola One Vision by 2 minutes and the Galaxy A50 by 4 hours. Charging is, I would say, on the reasonable side of things. 1 hour and 33 minutes, it's okay. Settings for the battery are typical: optimization, power saving, medium power saving and max power saving, plus adaptable battery. On the acoustics front, there is a singular speaker here, which you will not cover in landscape unless you grip the phone like this, which is odd. So when you're gaming, it's pretty safe. And we also have the audio jack intact here. The headphones are pretty basic, pretty standard. You can get them on any shop. They're not premium for sure. And you also have an equalizer here available with quite a few options. So if you go looking for it, let's see, it should be in the acoustics department. System sounds, advanced sound settings, and here you go. You got Dolby Atmos, you got an equalizer, UHQ upscaler, and that's that. Now, as far as the actual listening experience goes, I would say that the phone tends to lack the lows. It handles the highs better. It's an okay experience, not exactly memorable, but loud for sure, especially loud in games. In music, it's just okay. In games, well, it's truly loud. You will never need it past 50% because it would be too loud. That's my conclusion from the listening experience. Now we also have decibel measurements here, so let's see how that panned out. I'm going to start off with this one, 85.5 decibels, achieved with a typical acoustic musical sample at the front and the back of the phone, superior to the Huawei Mate 20 Lite and the Galaxy A50 even, inferior to the Huawei Honor 8X and the Motorola One Vision. That's music, acoustic sample. When it comes to gaming, we have a huge 103.2 decibels. It's the 8th placed phone from the hundreds we've tested. It beats some hardcore phones, Huawei P30 Pro and also the Galaxy A50. Stays below the Nokia 8 and Motorola One, but there aren't many models above this one when it comes to gaming. FM radio is also part of the package, just in case you're wondering. And now here we are. Galaxy A phone, this time with a dual camera, not a triple one. This is the LED flash, and here we have the topmost camera, 5 megapixel ultra wide, and below it the 16 megapixel f1.7 shooter right here, which sounds pretty okay at this price range. And at the front, a surprise I would say for this price tag, 25 megapixel selfie camera, from what I know should be the same one with the Galaxy A51. So let's get to the gallery, because we have a lot of shots and I will not insist too much on them. You know why? Because they're very much the same with what we achieved for the Galaxy A50. I'll say it again, they're very much the same. It was a torrid day outside, mixed in with some clouds, and these are some of the results we achieved. So the phone can handle close-ups like a champ. I really love these flower close-ups, and all of you flower buffs will be happy with those. I was actually surprised by the decent amount of zoom you can do, and here's a clear example of the wide-angle camera. This is the regular shot, and this is the wide-angle shot. Even though at times it doesn't feel like it's adding edges, it feels like you're having a bit of tunnel vision. That's the weirdness about it. I love the wide-angle camera of the Galaxy A50, but this one, I'm feeling a bit of tunnel view here. And I'll say it again, I was actually surprised by the zoom. We don't have optical zoom here, but the digital one stands on its own. Pretty okay colors in general. I'm not criticizing the colors as much as I did on the Huawei P30 Lite for sure, so that's a progress. And it was a very sunny day, prone to overexposure. Less burn in this case compared to the Huawei P30 Lite. Some overprocessing here and there, but at least at the end we get some realistic clouds, not just a white patch like the Huawei's do. Okay, in the end I have to mention that the wide-angle shots were looking pretty okay. They're inferior to the Galaxy A51 on account of the whole, you know, tunnel vision thing. Okay, we go further here, we have more colorful flowers, and the colors always check out here. I'm talking about their calibration compared to the real-life objects. And also at times shots felt a bit darker than they did on the Galaxy A50. Here are some other shots. The clarity was always spot on, and the selfies aren't bad, but once again they make the face feel like a doll, like they did on the Galaxy A50, and the focusing isn't exactly top notch, like it's not decided on whether or not to focus on my face or not, which is also something I saw on the Galaxy A50. So we have a doll face, we have a decent clarity, but the focus isn't always what I wanted. And if you truly want to get the best out of the selfie camera, you should actually activate a special option from it to take the full resolution 25 megapixel shots, and then you'll be very happy with the level of detail which you can get and enjoy properly your selfies in a full amount of detail. Okay, that's everything I had to say here. And also I would say that the bokeh, I would put it in the so-so department. Not the worst in the world, but also not exactly Huawei level. Huawei does it better. And in the end, it's about 85% of the Galaxy A50 experience and superior to the Huawei P30 Lite when it comes to colors. That's daytime. Now let's see how we did during the nighttime. Low light capture is a bit of a tough test for many phones. One thing you have to remember is that if during the day you liked the wide-angle camera, you will not like it during the night. It makes things purple and pink. There's a big color difference between the two cameras. And actually, in general, I was decently satisfied with the quality of the capture, but not with the wide-angle camera. Halos feel a bit too big in general. The regular camera is, I would say, decent. We have some vivid yellows here and there. And let's see how we did in the logo brightness test. It feels a bit too bright, so it cannot handle light sources properly. It's still a cheap phone, so was expecting that. Bit dark in the end, feels like a regular mid-range camera. It did not surpass or go below my expectations. I would say it can maybe fight a Huawei P30 Lite, but you should forget about the wide-angle camera. And it can also compete with the Galaxy A50 on equal terms, even though this one actually feels a bit less red than the Galaxy A50 for some reason. That was photo. Let's talk video, and here we go. We have the app you saw before, MX Player Pro. Let's skip this, go back. We have 9 videos. We're keeping things simple here. Let me start off with this one. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about it. So it was a very sunny day, and I noticed a tendency here of refocusing, especially in the first act of the shot. It's MP4, Full HD, 30 frames per second and 17 megapixel bitrate. The clarity is okay, and you can actually hear a cat meowing throughout this video. So the cat was in heat, or she or he was behind me, and that shows the microphone is actually pretty solid. So the colors check out, even the sky, and later on, well, there was a bit of white going on. We tried the focus here, turned out pretty okay, and then we went straight to the stabilization test, just digital, but to be honest, not half bad. Yes, I know that the exposure skips, jumps from brighter to darker, I know that, but at least there's no annoying flicker and decent digital stabilization like we saw on the Galaxy A50. Not bad for the price. Okay microphone, and so far the biggest drawback would be the refocus that happens every once in a while, particularly at the start of a video. This one is a comparison video, regular filming with the main camera, nice setup of the exposure, okay panning, no ghosting, no refocusing, and then the same area filmed with a wide angle camera. Of course, lots of grain here, lots of curvature, not a big fan of it. Okay, let's see the selfie video. Not expecting much here. Let's change it to a proper view. So it feels a bit saturated, might be the t-shirt. Okay, face texture. What's behind me is a bit too burned by the sun. It doesn't break any records, but it also doesn't tempt you to start some vlogging channel. So in the end, I will say it again, it feels like something like 70% out of the Galaxy A50 experience, and at least we don't have an exaggerated exposure or problems with the stabilization. Okay, and I actually forgot about something, forgot to show you the low light capture. We've seen phones that cost triple this amount, not managing to achieve anything during the night, and this is obviously not the case here. It's no champion during the nighttime, things are orange, red, but somehow stabilization remains okay. I don't see much flicker here, I don't see much refocus, oddly enough. I see some reflections, and the zoom, surprisingly, is decent. So there's that, but this quantity of orange or red doesn't qualify the camera to be a memory maker. In the end, remember this, some of the shots are very easy to confuse with the Galaxy A50, and that's a compliment by itself. And it beats the Huawei P30 Lite in exposure and colors. If you want to do some web browsing, you can stick with the Samsung browser, or you can use Google Chrome, it's up to you. We're using the Samsung browser so far. Is loading up gsndome.com, and we have some nifty hands-on and unboxings here with the Asus ROG phone and all that. Anyways, we're here to show you the input. That's the keyboard, a bit high placed, possibly inspired by the iPhone X1. Now when it comes to the connectivity, this is obviously a dual SIM phone with nano SIM card slots, 4G LTE, ANT+, and when it comes to global localizing, you got your GPS, GLONASS, Beidou and Galileo. There's also Wi-Fi A, B, G, and AC. There's NFC, and of course there's the USB Type-C port at the bottom and the audio jack next to it. There's Wi-Fi Direct, there's Bluetooth 5.0 here, and the calls were pretty loud and clear, at least in my tests. And we also did a speed test or two to pretty surprising results. Good surprises, not bad surprises. And let's try and find them. Okay, and here we go. These are the results we achieved. So these are the connectivity tests. On 4G we got as high as 231 megapixel downloads, 25.6 megapixel uploads. This is a pretty solid 4G connection. On Wi-Fi it got as high as 125 megapixel downloads, 25.6 megapixel uploads. I would say we're doing fine, actually flagship fine. And once again, here we are. I meet my old nemesis, One UI. I'm joking about the whole Nemesis thing. I'm actually pretty fond of One UI applied on top of Android Pie. We got a Bixby aggregator here with useful stuff. It's aggregating stuff like GIFs, weather, YouTube, suggestions of apps, places to eat nearby, and then we have the flat interface, focused on interaction in the lower area, content in the top 2/3. Other than that, you're supposed to be using the phone with a single hand, and we got the multitasking like this, with the scrollable horizontally applications, horizontally set up. You also have split screen and a pop-up view, which I actually haven't showed you as much as I have should have on the One UI tests we've done so far. And if you keep the home screen pressed, you're going to see some very light and transparent and filled with white widgets. Okay, and another thing that's filled with white and gray is the drop down area with notifications and quick settings. Everything is clean, clear, well spaced and aired out and closer to your thumb, so you can use the device with a single hand. And by the way, of course, we also have a kids mode and also have a night mode, which is one of the staples of the experience with One UI. So some parts will get darker. Bixby got darker, this area got darker, and also the web browser got darker. That's night mode in a nutshell, but there are several other tweaks. Okay, other things worth mentioning here is the multitasking, the clean interface. Let's talk about the security for a bit. So you got your fingerprint scanner here, and sadly it's slow. It's getting closer and closer to 2 seconds, which is too much, but at least it's accurate. You can also resort to the face unlock, not a big fan of it, and there's even an option in the settings to reduce animations in case you feel the phone is too sluggish. There's smart stay, double tap to wake, one hand mode, and swipe on the fingerprint scanner to move around the interface if you want that. You have dual messenger, you have an easy mode, and you can swap the navigation buttons for swipes, replacing them in the same area. Plus, you have the digital well-being from Google on Android Pie. The applications, there's about 30 of them. You got the productivity here, Office, OneDrive, LinkedIn, you know the drill. We got the Google apps, we got the Samsung apps, including the Samsung Health with your calories, steps, and all that jazz, radio, internet, SmartThings, and voice recorder. And I would say that's about it. You can see several more apps here. And now it's time for the conclusion. So on the Pro side, for the Galaxy A40, it's a cute phone. It's a comfy and compact phone, which is ideal for a teenager, I would say. It's got a bright Super AMOLED screen, and the camera is close enough to the Galaxy A50 to be worth the purchase. It's definitely no drawback. The performance is, I would say, okay every once in a while when you fire up the phone, and after you've done an update, you may experience some sluggishness. Remember, every once in a while, not always. So on the Pro side, cute, comfy, compact, okay performance, bright screen, close to the Galaxy A50 in the camera department, solid battery, and it's got pretty strong acoustics in games and also fast connectivity. On the minus side, when it comes to the things that we're less happy about, I would say the acoustics for the music not satisfying, some over-processed shots as well, selfies still underwhelming. There's a tunnel effect for the wide-angle shots, and in general the wide-angle shots felt inferior to the Galaxy A50. Some refocus during video, and I would say that's about it. So this has been the experience with the Samsung Galaxy A40. This is not a regular mid-ranger. Nowadays we have high mid-range phones, we have entry-level mid-range phones, and this is the mid-range phones. It's for the people who don't want to go all out spending on the Galaxy A50 and its triple camera, and they're pretty happy with a dual camera setup, a compact phone, and a device that's very light and very colorful to take in a summer vacation. It can still fight the Huawei P30 Lite on some segments, even though that's a higher mid-range phone than this one, and that's a pretty good fit. You're going to buy it for the Super AMOLED screen, you're going to buy it for the battery, and maybe the odd game, especially for the acoustics in games. This has been the review for the Galaxy A40 from gsndom.com. Bye bye.